Hello, I'm gonna do you now.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, how are you?
We're good. Ready for another one?
Still Monday.
Yeah. Just waiting for Dawn again.
Yeah, not one more minute. I'm trying to be off for the rest of the week.
What was that?
I'm trying to be off for the rest of the week. I scheduled
Ah,
this a
yes.
while ago to be off. My poor brain on a Monday. All right, where we are.
tell you that my rag got shut down at the UN?
Got shut down. Oh, yeah, the frequency thing. You were telling me that. The jammer.
Yeah.
Oh, Don's here. The gang is all here.
Jen?
Yep.
Pre-radio show
Dawn.
July. This is the pre-show,
Dawn.
guys, listening at Radio Land.
You did a draft?
Draft.
Draft.
Yeah. I just
pre-draft.
put some starting, a pre-draft, just some starting
that's
points in the newsletter. But
That's
I
all you need to do,
included
Jen.
the parts. Yeah,
I can jump in and
but I put,
if you want to expand or whatever.
I just put in the parts that I thought were important. Of course, an introduction, but
Yep.
some of the questions that we received already. So those need to be addressed in the first newsletter, I think.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, like that one, I saw that one today. That was good, eh? That was kind of positive.
Yeah.
That was an Indigenous Agricultural Association or something, eh?
Yes, and that was on our urban indigenous list that came from Manitoba.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's really good. Okay.
Who's opening up
Alright.
today with the first song?
What's that?
Who's opening up today with the first song?
Oh, I think, is it my turn this week, Jen?
I don't remember, Dawn.
I think it's my turn. I can't remember. I'm happy to defer to you, though. Anytime.
Okay. I have someone. We'll start with
So you
some
can
rap
join us
then, or hip hop.
You can join us
Yes, I
tomorrow
will
for
join.
the pre-record, but not the
Yep.
live stream, right? At noon. Okay,
I
good.
can
Got
I
it.
can
Okay.
jump in for the live stream, Dawn.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good. That's good.
I sent in my songs for tomorrow, I think. I did.
You did, yeah. I thought you did.
Yeah.
I didn't look at
Elizabeth
them.
Isaac, The Specials, and Billie Holiday on tap tomorrow. 3 completely different genres.
Yeah, the specials. Wow, I like that one. Remember the specials? Did you see what I did
And
on mine?
I gotta look
WSR one?
again. I seen
I seen it.
I seen it. Oh, you have all kinds of different ones here.
I know, yes.
Because you said you wanted
Mixing it
to
up.
out eclectic me.
Yes, I did. And I think I did this week.
We'll see.
Just test me, Jed. Just test me. I can out eclectic you. We're going to get into some crazy stuff.
Yeah, so today I have hip hop and ska. Both my
That's good, though.
last 2 songs are ska bands. One's a Canadian ska band.
That's kind of cool, eh?
Yeah, I didn't know any such thing. You know who gave me that one was Michael Wright.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
He's a good music guy.
he is, and he's into ska, and I knew nothing about ska. It was my daughter that introduced me, because every time she had the Mad Caddies on, I was like, "Who's this? I like this. Who is this?" She's like, "It's the Mad Caddies, Mom." Hey.
Of course it is.
Well, apparently I like them. And then
Well,
I
there
went
you
and
go.
went and seen the Specials with her when she was 16 or 17. She wanted to go see the Specials for her birthday. I didn't know who they were.
Wow.
So we found
They're
them in
great, eh?
Toronto because they were doing their 30th anniversary tour at the Harbourfront And I've never seen so many people my age act like a bunch of rude teenagers.
I know, it's pretty funny, eh? It's so
It was
weird.
bizarre. They were all acting like they were 14 all over again.
I know. I think I always find that funny.
So
I
she
went to
she had her she was at the
go
front.
ahead.
So
Yeah,
I didn't want to lose her in this mess because she's just 16 and
yeah,
little. So I grabbed both, I kind of hugged her and was grabbing onto that barrier to keep her in the front.
yeah,
And so I don't lose her. And people were trying to step on me and get in at the front and stuff like that, but I wouldn't let them. And then everybody was jumping right to the music, and we were stuck in there because we were in
yeah,
like the little mosh pit, and like I wasn't jumping,
yeah.
but I was moving up and down with the crowd. And then afterwards, it was so disgusting because we were full of everyone else's sweat. We were sopping wet, and it was gross. I was in a
Jeez.
mosh pit with my 16-year-old.
Yeah,
That's
It
pretty
was
funny.
weird.
I
That's a
still go
good
in the mosh
story.
pit. I still go in the mosh pit.
Well, she wanted to be there, and I didn't want to friggin' lose her, so yuck.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Let's
you
see
had no
what the mosh
choice.
pit
Yeah,
person's
that's.
I did a mosh pit.
Jeez.
Okay, we're almost 2 minutes out here, so I'm going to go quiet in
Okay,
the studio here, guys. So good luck. Have a good show. We'll catch you on this side.
thank you.
Okay.
And you've been in a mosh pit, Don?
I have not. No. It'd probably be fun, though, actually.
You got to try it.
Probably be fun. Yeah, I'd probably pull a muscle or something.
No,
Oh,
I
that
don't think you
hurts.
will. You don't even jump. You just stand still, and the crowd will take you wherever.
Yeah, I guess. I saw this video the other day, Jen, of, I can't remember which artist. Oh, I think it was, no, I don't know who it was, but you know how some artists have, they fall into the crowd backwards, and then the
Oh
crowd
yeah,
moves
yeah.
them around with their hands. But this ended up being like, usually it's pretty cool, right? Like one of my favorite artists, Peter Gabriel, used to do that all the time when he was young, and but like it's you always hear like, oh wow, and it always looks so cool, but this one didn't work out, so it was
Oh
just a
no.
disaster, right? So they fell backwards into the crowd, and then like it just, I don't know, it just didn't, people didn't cooperate, so they ended up like falling down onto the floor and getting hurt.
Oh no.
All their clothes were messed up. It
Ad-
just was a disaster. Because it sounds so
Admittedly,
cool,
I've
right? As a
always
concert thing.
I know, and admittedly, I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah, it'd be
Never did
fun,
it.
right? Because you sort of back up and then just let yourself go and fall off the stage, and all your fans are supporting you, right? And
Well, I
yeah,
would
this
hope
one did
people would
not work
catch
out
me.
because the video was ugly.
No,
It was
no,
really
no.
ugly, Jen.
Ouch.
Oh, yeah, it did not work out as planned. So I don't know how
I
many
guess that
artists
is
do that
terrible.
anymore, to tell you the truth.
I have no
Yes.
idea.
Oh, we're down to 13 seconds. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Don Parkinson, and I'm a consultation specialist with Atkins Realis. Today, we are continuing with our series of radio show topics as our project moves closer to consultation round 3 of the environmental assessment phase. The topics we are covering parallel our project activities or are of community importance, so we hope these will help our viewers and listeners better understand the project and provide input along the way. Now, just like we normally do in our radio shows, we are broadcasting on the Wabate Radio Network to help reach community members about our project. Listeners can call or text us with questions and comments about the project at 1-844 424-0500. That's 1-844-424-0500. We try to keep the show fun and informal while being informative at the same time. We also take music requests, as you probably know, as long as you provide us with a comment or question about the project. And with me today is my usual co-host, Jennifer Ashawazagay Pereira, my colleague and an Indigenous Engagement and Traditional Knowledge Specialist at Atkins Realis. Jennifer's a member of Henvey Inlet First Nation, located on the French River south of Sudbury, and works with me on our projects across Canada. Hi, Jen. How you doing today?
Anin, Nishin, good. How are you?
That's good. Yeah, Nishin as well for a Monday, right?
For
For a
Monday, I
Monday.
know. Monday.
But it's a short week. It's a short week, Jen.
That it is, and it's especially short for me because I'm taking vacation days this week.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you were supposed to take one today, too. That didn't work out very well, I guess.
It
You
did
were
not
pulled into
because
service. You were pulled into
I was
service,
pulled it
Jen.
as soon as I opened my eyes this morning. I was, and I can't miss being on the radio. It's one of my favorite things.
No, I know. Yeah, I love the radio. The radio is great too. So, so today's topic, Jen, is commitments and monitoring, and in this show, we're going to be talking about the environmental protections that are in place after an EA, that is environmental assessment or impact assessment, is approved. So we're going to talk a bit about, sort of at a high level about these, and then maybe later on, later this year, we can get into more specifics in terms of some of the preliminary commitments that are being made as part of our environmental assessment or impact assessment. So we think these topics are important to discuss with community members, and we want to make sure that we're transparent in these discussions because we want our viewers and listeners to sort of know what's going on with the project and where we stand and where we are and where we're going. So, with that, Jen, let's kick things off with a little review as to what
All
we're going to
right.
cover today. We're going to start off as per usual with a project background to get everybody up to speed on the project, because some people don't know about the project or may not have been tuning in on a regular basis. So we'll go through that. We're going to provide a few definitions that will help our listeners follow along with what we're going to talk about today. And then we're going to get down to talking about monitoring and compliance. And then we're going to finish off with how you can get in touch with us and provide your feedback. So why don't we get started with a bit of project background. And don't forget, we're going to be jumping into some music soon. It's going to be a very eclectic selection of music today.
It
You're going
sure
to hear a
is.
wide range of a wide range of selections. This will be fun as I try to out eclectic you this week, Jen, because you out eclected me last week. So I'm going to try and
Yes,
win this
I
week.
like different
I will try
genres.
to.
I'm gonna try and win.
Yes, yeah, me too. Me too. I'm open to different types of music and stuff. So anyway, that'll be fun. That'll be fun to do that today. So let's get started and talk a little bit about where this project is located. So the Webequie Supply Road project is, so Webequie First Nation actually is about 600 kilometers north of Thunder Bay. It's about 200 to 250 kilometers away from both James Bay and Hudson Bay. And the project itself has multiple purposes. The first is to move materials and supplies and people from the airport to the McFalls Lake area to service the development or mine development or exploration activities in the region. The second is to provide employment and economic development opportunities to Webequie, while allowing them at the same time to continue to live in their community and preserve and enhance their language and culture. And then finally, um, it's to provide experience and training opportunities for youth, and in doing that, encourage them to pursue post-secondary education and training. So some important purposes of the project to the community. Um, in terms of the project itself, let's do a little bit of a description of the project. Uh, it's planned to be 107 kilometers in length, running from the airport at Webquay First Nation, southeast to just east of the Mukatai River in the McFalds Lake area, or the Ring of Fire development mining deposit area. Of those 107 kilometers, 17 sit on actual reserve lands. And then we have a preferred corridor, which is sort of our planning area for the project now. So various alternatives were assessed and reviewed before, and then after a lot of community input, the community members identified a preferred corridor. This corridor, if you can imagine, is a band of land and water about 2 kilometers wide, extending from the beginning of the project at Webquay Airport to the end, just east of the Mukatai River. So that band is 2 kilometers wide. So the actual route of the actual road would sit somewhere within that 2 kilometer wide band or corridor that we're working from right now. And then the actual final corridor width, like the cleared width is 35 meters to accommodate the 2-lane gravel surface road, all season road. And as I always say, all season roads are more than just the road itself. There's other infrastructure associated with them. There are 3 major crossings. The first, coming out of Webequay, is that of the Winisk Lake, which is about 200 to 250 meters wide, that crossing. And then there's another crossing just southeast of there, which is Winiscus's Channel, which is about 30 to 40 meters wide. And finally, at the east end, there is the crossing of the Mukatai River, which is again 30 to 40 meters wide. There are other infrastructure elements associated with the road, such as, and some of these are temporary, some of these are permanent. They include both temporary and permanent aggregate pit and rock quarry areas, which is where the material that's used to build the road comes from. And those areas usually require a road to get to them. So these would be, service roads or access roads. And as such, they would cross rivers and streams as well. So they may require culverts or bridges or other kinds of water crossing structures. So in the course of construction, there are planned to be 4 construction camps along the route. These are temporary, and then the purpose of them, as you can imagine, is to accommodate construction crews as well. Associated with them, typically you have storage and laydown yards for um, equipment and materials. So lots of different types of infrastructure that are built as part of this. Again, a lot of it is temporary and then is removed afterwards, and the areas are restored. Some of it is actually permanent. So, with that, Jen, I think we are going to have a music-filled session today. I will remind
Okay.
everyone again that they can call or text us with questions or comments about the project at 1-844-424-0500. That's 1-844-424-0500. If you have a comment or question about the project, you can also submit a music request. So with that, Jen, I will give you the first musical selection of the day, and I encourage you to make it a good one.
All right, Chimiwatch, and I'm sure this is going to be a good one. I'm going to go south of the medicine line to Pine Ridge Indian Res in South Dakota, there is Stella Standing Bear, who's from there, and she is a hip hop artist. And last year, she garnered Best Female Hip Hop Artist of the Year and Music Video of the Year as well. And so the one that we want to listen to is Home Run from
Alright.
Stella.
Looking forward to this, Jen.
It's good.
I'm hitting home runs. I remember when they said they didn't see something. I remember when they said I wouldn't be nothing. But I'ma keep swinging, I'ma keep swinging. I'm hitting home runs. I remember when they said they didn't see something. I remember when they said I wouldn't be nothing. But I'ma keep swinging, I'ma keep swinging. All these sleepless nights, yeah, it's on me. Got a whole team that I gotta feed. I ain't stopping till the world notice me. And to my legacy, that's all that's left of me. I keep it rolling, going through the motions. I got the potions, yeah, you know I'm going. Cause I'm golden, and I'm chosen. I'm a star, and it's my moment. I'm hitting home runs. I remember when they said they didn't see something. I remember when they said I wouldn't be nothing. But I'ma keep swinging, I'ma keep swinging. I'm hitting home runs. I remember when they said they didn't see something. I remember when they said I wouldn't be nothing. But I'ma keep swinging, I'ma keep swinging. I'm swinging for the moon and stars, please don't intervene. I create my own reality, it's not a dream. I put in the work and I stuck to my routine. Came up from the bottom, now my life's a movie scene. Going to the top, move out the way. I ain't gonna stop, I'm here to stay. Yeah, I'm gonna pop, don't care what they say. I hit it at the park and slide at home plate. I'm hitting home runs. I remember when they said they didn't see something. I remember when they said I wouldn't be nothing. But I'ma keep swinging, I'ma keep swinging. I'm hitting home runs. I remember when they said they didn't see something. I remember when they said I wouldn't be nothing. But I'ma keep swinging, I'ma keep swinging.
Ooh, that was a good one. I like that one, Jen.
So I myself think I've hit a home run with my selections today.
Oh, you have. You have. I think that was really good. That was really good.
Not too bad, Jen.
Wow, you're putting the pressure on me. I'm going to have to dig deep, come up with a really good. I think I've got one. I think I've got one to respond to that. It's an older one,
We'll
but
make
it's
we'll make Tony pick the winner.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
going to pick the winner today at the end of the show. So ask, and we'll pick the winner.
Okay. We're the listeners.
So let's, or the listeners can do it. Yeah, that's true.
Great.
So let's move on now and talk a little bit about commitments, monitoring, and mitigation. And this is worth, I think, spending time on because Jen, when we visit communities and stuff, it's really important to use language that people can understand, right? And I think that's something that we see when we see a lot of presentations being made. Um, there's a lot of use of language without making sure that people can actually follow it because it's used so often that you can easily get lost when talking about environmental assessments or impact assessments. So why don't we
That's
go
it.
through three of the big terms here, Jen, like commitments. So when we talk about commitments, when doing an environmental assessment or an impact assessment, over as it's done, because imagine you're what you're doing is you're talking about the first steps are basically deciding what to study, right? And the identifying and that's a public process, right, where they can participate, community members and the general public can participate in suggesting what needs to be studied. And in the process of doing that, like we've done for this project, I think we've had over 1,000 comments that have been provided. And in the course of doing that, we obviously make adjustments to our work plans, also known as the terms of reference on the provincial side. And we also make commitments, right? Commitments to do certain things, either during the EA or post EA. So, these are really promises, right? These are promises that we would make. So, for example, if an environmental assessment or impact assessment is approved, associated with that approval is a list of commitments that need to be met. So that's what commitments are, promises.
Hmm.
Let's talk a bit about monitoring. This is a big one, and this is one that I think people don't realize or haven't historically realized. A lot of people thought, I think, um, that once an environmental assessment is approved or an impact assessment is approved, then it's just go build the thing, and then
Approved.
and
And
then
that's
then
it.
that's
Right.
yeah, and that's that, right? And there's
And it's
no
not.
oversight. Yeah, and it's not that at all. It's not that at all. I remember, in the past having done consultation on projects, and a lot of the feedback you would get from the general public, from Indigenous communities you know, was their thinking was, well, once it's approved, right? And that's that. But it's just not the case. And in fact, as time has gone on and as the guidelines have changed, for
Hmm.
environmental assessments and impact assessments and the requirements, monitoring is getting a higher priority. So, for example, it's the expectation for monitoring is that it be done during project, post project, and the length of time over which it's done is getting longer, right? And a lot of it's a function
Yeah.
of the nature of the project, where it is, right? Like there's a lot of variables involved in what monitoring's done and how long it's done for, but monitoring's becoming a big deal. And in an area like we're talking about, which is a pretty pristine area, with a lot of Indigenous communities who live off the land and water, monitoring is even more important than many other activities. So I
That's
think,
it.
yeah, I think what this is something that's going to become more and more prominent as projects are approved and proceed, to ensure that local impacts and regional impacts too. There's going to be probably more regional monitoring programs developed to ensure that the big picture is being looked at as well too. The cumulative effects of projects are better understood.
Oh,
And then
say
the
that word
final
again.
cumulative,
Thank you.
cumulative. Yes, yes, yeah, that's a tough one. Don't ask me to do that more than twice. And another term that you and I always encounter, and it drives me crazy sometimes because it's used a lot, and it could be just simplified a little bit, is mitigation. And so
Not to be
that
confused
really,
with migration.
yes, like you did earlier today. Yes, that's right. I have memories of just a couple of hours ago. That's right. Yeah. So mitigation refers to reducing or limiting impacts. So it's a term you're going to see a lot.
Hmm.
Mitigation techniques, ways of limiting impacts, because you'll see that, because of course, in the course of an environmental assessment, you identify potential effects of the project, and then you identify mitigation measures to limit those effects.
That's
Sometimes
right,
they can be eliminated.
and that's why they have that 2 kilometer wide corridor that we're studying for the road.
Yes,
So when you're looking at mitigating or reducing effects, there might be some areas that you don't want to see impacted. So you can work
yes,
around within that 2 kilometer corridor.
because you're narrowing things down, right?
Hmm.
You're narrowing down the area to focus your studies on, but you still have enough land and water area to work with in terms of putting the road. Because, like you said, sometimes things come up that you don't know about, right?
That's right.
and that are pointed out, or you encounter them. So you have to make adjustments. And this having this 2 kilometer wide band, sort of this planning area, gives you that flexibility, right? So for example, if community members point out, anytime now that, there's a sacred area that's sitting within that 2 kilometer band, well then, we have to then identify that as a potential constraint, right? An area where not to put the road, and then do some shifts, and which might require design adjustments and things like that, right? So
Hmm.
it's really, really important. Mitigation is a key word for people to understand. And with that, Jen, I think we're ready for a little musical selection here.
All right.
We got lots of time for music today, which is great. So I'm going to go with an old song from James Brown. Remember James Brown?
Oh,
I Feel
James
Good.
Brown. Yeah.
Yeah,
Da-da-da-da-da.
yeah. That's right. So today we're going to hear a James Brown song that I've heard before, but it's not one of, I don't think it's like one of his most famous ones. It's called Get Up Off of That Thing.
Okay.
So
I've
let's
heard
listen
that
to
one before.
James Brown. Yeah, you probably have. Let's listen to James Brown, Get Up Off of That Thing.
Sounds fun.
Oh! Oh! Woo! Swear down! Yeah. I'm back! I know it! I'm back! I know it! Yes, we are! I'm back! I'm back! I'm back! Get up off of that thing and dance to you feel better. Get up off of that thing and dance to you. Sing it now! Get up off of that thing and dance till you feel better. Get up off of that thing and try to release that pressure. Get up off of that thing and shake till you feel better. Get up off of that thing and shake till, say it now. Get up off of that thing and shake till you feel better. Get up off of that thing and try to release that pressure. Get up, up. Ha. Good God. So good. Everybody ready? Follow me. Get up off of that thing and shake the juice. Get up off of that thing and shake the juice. Sing it now. Get up off of that thing and shake the juice. Feel better. Get up off of that thing and try to release that pressure. Get up off of that thing and twist the juice. Feel better. Get up off of that thing and shake the juice. Sing it now. Get up off of that thing and shake the juice. Feel better. Get up off of that thing and try to release that pressure. Ha. So good. Ohio players. Kids in the sunshine, check this out. I want you to get up off of that thing and dance to make you better. Get up off of that thing. Follow me. Get up off of that thing and dance to you feel better. Get up off of that thing and try to release that. Wait a minute. So funky. I need it. That's a wild brother. That's a wild sound good. Gonna sound good. Good, good. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it. Good job. Watch it. Watch it. Look at that. You sound good. Let me hear you say something. You feel good. You feel good. Good to me. Good job. Get up off of that thing. I want the horns again. Can I get the horns again? Play the band for me. Show 'em how funky you are. Play it, JB. Play it now. Play it. Get up off of that thing and dance to you better. Get up off of that thing and dance to you. Help me out. Get up off of that thing
James
Well,
Brown.
there's one.
How
I
about
haven't
that?
heard that in 1,000 years, I think.
Wow.
Did he ever have any, like, did James Brown have slow songs?
I thought that was a
I,
slow song.
For
I
James
don't
Brown,
even
maybe.
know.
I don't know. They all. I mean, I'm not. It's no insult to him, but they all sound kind of alike. I mean, they're all great, right? They're all fun and
Oh, that's his
lots of
style.
energy.
Get back into
It's his
your seat.
style, but I just wondered if he ever did like a, like a slow song or something, right? Like,
Get back into your bed.
Kiss did a slow song,
Get
right?
back
Like,
into your thing.
show how funky you are. I love the lyrics are the best. I love the lyrics. I think they're hilarious. But anyway, James Brown, great artist, fun guy. I'd love to meet James Brown. I mean, it's too late now, but be fun to meet him, wouldn't it?
I think, that, I think
It
that's
would.
1 point for Dawn, Jen.
Oh man.
Ah, yeah.
You gotta bring it
I'm
home,
up
No.
Jen.
1-0. Come on, Jen. See if you can tie it up.
Well, maybe with the next song.
We'll see. All right.
Okay. You could go off. You could go
But I don't
off the board
off
too
my
if you want.
list.
Sometimes, like if you're desperate and you want to come up with something crazy, I think you can go off the board as long as you give the tech team
I don't know. I
advance
might have to
notice.
dig out some BB King, but I don't think so. I think I'm going to stick to my list.
Okay.
But I think
Okay.
BB King would knock James Brown out of the water, but maybe not. But I
No,
love
yeah,
BB King.
they're pretty good. They're both pretty good. Yeah, BB King was probably a little bit more. He could do
A
everything,
little
right? I mean, he
slower,
was
a little slower.
yeah, a little slower, not that much, not that much. Right? Did James Brown play guitar? I guess, or was he just a
I have no
singer
idea.
and
I
performer?
don't know.
Just a
I don't
dancer.
know. I'm curious. I'm
He
not sure if he
danced
could or not.
and he sang.
He danced well. Yeah, he was a big dancer, that's for sure. Okay, so let's move along, and we're going to go at a nice pace here. We're going to talk next about
Hmm.
monitoring and compliance. And so when we talk about compliance, what are we talking about basically? We're talking about, like you said in our live stream earlier today, Jen, following the rules, right?
Right.
So, when we make commitments, it's did we comply with the commitments? Did we do what we say we were going to do? And are our mitigation methods working? That's where the monitoring comes in, right? To be
Hmm.
able to sort of look at, okay, what's going on? Are we seeing anything that we're not expecting to see? That is like, does it seem like some of the methods that we suggested for mitigation, for minimizing impacts, might not be working or working as well? So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about monitoring and compliance. And so in an environmental assessment report, you have a list of commitments that are made during the process and how we'll meet those commitments. Those commitments may relate to lots of different things. They could relate to the project, like the different phases of the
Engineering.
project, the activity, engineering, the activities that are the specific activities that are within a project phase. So it could be in construction, it could be operations and maintenance, it could be during what they call decommissioning or rehabilitate. When you're taking out temporary facilities. So, for example, like if you look at the construction camps, right, you need a big area for the construction camps and the laydown areas, the storage areas, but you don't need that area afterwards because they're
That's
temporary.
right.
So what you have committed to restoring those areas back to the way they were before. So there's typically a restoration plan associated with that, and then there's monitoring to make sure that that restoration plan's actually working and doing what it's supposed to do and what you predicted it would do. So
That's right.
that's what we're talking about.
And there's specific steps within the restoration plan that needs to be
Yes,
followed. And so the monitoring plan also covers that whole process.
yes, yeah, and You probably were witness to some of these things in your community, right? When with some of the projects that have gone on in your community, you probably have seen firsthand, some of the environmental monitoring that went on during the project and probably after the project too.
That's right. We had two different things, and I talked about this in previous radio programs, and that's the construction or the twinning of Highway 69 through our territory. So we had, when we're looking at mitigation and monitoring, so one of the mitigation measures for the twinning of Highway 69, there was concern around the moose population as well as the impacts to their migration patterns because they
Not
cross the
mitigation
highway
patterns, right?
That's right. Not mitigation patterns, migration patterns in our territory because there are some areas where the moose were consistent in crossing the highway, and that's why we have those yellow caution signs where it says moose, high likelihood of moose. But when I was a kid, I actually thought those were moose crosswalks, and I thought they were really smart for following those crosswalks. I thought, wow,
Hey, why would
those
you not
moose
think
are,
that as a kid, right?
that's right, those
They're
moose
so
are really
obedient.
smart, and they know where to cross.
Yes, amazing. Amazing. They look for the markings on the roadway.
Yes, and my father, I remember him laughing his head off about that. But anyways, so those signs are up there because that's a place where they were part of their migration routes, right? And so in the twinning of Highway 69, there's wildlife fencing along the sides of the corridor. So after the right of way, there's all this fencing, so they can't really jump over the fencing. And so way south of us, there is like a land bridge where they go across, but considering that's about a half-hour drive with 100-kilometer speed limit, so that's pretty far or up the road rather, because we're going north, so we say
Yes.
up. So going up the road, that's quite a way. So we need to consider something that we were going to put in our area. So we had large culverts to go for some of the smaller water areas, as well as accommodate some of the snowmobilers in the winter for the snowmobile trails. So one of the things that our community had Ministry of Transportation kind of re-engineer one of the culverts. So we ordered a much larger culvert to accommodate moose in the wintertime, right? So you have to accommodate for the height of the snow and then account for the size of the rack on the moose. So it's fairly large. So not only can it accommodate boats, like boat traffic in the summertime, it can accommodate skidoos and moose traffic in the wintertime. So that was really, really great.
What a great
And then
idea,
going
Jen, eh? Just by upsizing
right.
the culvert. Yeah.
Yeah, so they can go underneath the road rather than try and
Hmm.
go over it, but there's all that fencing there, so they can go underneath. And I don't know if we have any trail cams there, so it's been, I think, about 5 years since that was installed. So it would be really interesting to find out if they're indeed using that in the wintertime. Then moving more south to Henvilet First Nation area that was called, well, Henvilet or Nigigigishing, which is the place of the otters, which is where our wind farm kind of is. So they did rehabilitate some of the roads because they were incredibly wide to accommodate very large transport trucks with the wind blades on there. Now that was a whole feat in and of itself to bring those there because they traveled by water and by rail and then transport truck. And they had these special trucks that brought in the blades that were so long. So we had to really accommodate the trucks, especially around some of the corners because of the really wide turns they were taking. So all of those corners and the other parts of the road, because the roads also had to accommodate very large cranes, because I think we used some of the largest cranes in Ontario or in the country actually to put together or assemble the turbines, and they're about 100 feet. So as long as a football field is, that's the height of these wind
They're
turbines.
that big,
And
eh? Wow, that's
they're
amazing.
that big. So they were at the time the largest in Canada. So we had very special equipment to install those things. And so to accommodate the special equipment, we had to make very large roads and very large ingress and egress points. So going in,
Mm-hmm.
like really the corners, right, for going in and coming out of those places. So since then, the roads have been, I what would you call that? Reduced. So they're not
Yeah,
as
the
large. So
footprint's
they're not.
been
Yeah, the
been reduced.
footprint has been
Yep.
reduced. That's right. And some of those areas have been rehabilitated, some of the laydown areas. Now, one of our laydown areas, it wasn't entirely reduced because that's where our O&M building sits. But certainly, it was
Yes.
very, very
Yes.
large because it accommodated so many companies because we had iron workers in there, we had the turbine company in there, we had our environmental um, monitors in there as well as the construction facilities. Like everything was in this huge laydown area. So we had the benefit of not having to have 3 laydown areas like that's broken up in for the Webequie Supply Road, and ours was just one, and that one was pretty large considering it was for the construction phase, which is only about a year and a half long, so it's a lot shorter than what the construction
Yes.
phase might be for WSR. So we had those two things. So everything's been rehabilitated to the best that we can, and we have the service roads left.
Yeah, that's a great example of what we're talking about today, and then one point you brought up there too is that one laydown area has been maintained, right? Because it's still
Mhm.
needed for operations, and so that
That's right.
that does happen sometimes, right? So, um, you know, s- there are facilities required, and I know for the Webequie Supply Road there will be at least one sort of operations and maintenance facility, but there likely will be another facility, sort of maybe at the other end of the road, or just to allow, the service to the road to be, relatively quick, I
Like
guess.
maybe
There's
gas, like a gas
and
station.
yeah, that too. Yeah, that too as
Mhm.
well. You're right, Jen. It could probably be combined into that. So that's something they look at, right? And say, well, could we need to put like an operations and maintenance facility there, but maybe we keep it, maybe we don't reduce the size of what's already been there temporarily because we can put a gas station there too, or some other commercial development that'll maybe develop some economic opportunities for the communities involved. So anyway, yeah,
Right.
no, that's really helpful. Well, I think it's your turn for another musical selection. I do want to remind everyone that they can call or text us at 1-844-424-0500. That's 1-844-424-0500. Call or text us with a comment question about the project. If you have a music request, you can provide that as long as you give us a comment or question about the project. And you're it now, Jen, with a music selection.
I'm gonna go for an American classic ska band, Don. So they're out of California. This is the Mad Caddies, and do you want to feel old?
I already do. So
Well, I'm
uh,
gonna make you feel older. So they started producing their music. They have 8 albums, and they started producing their music in the late 1900s.
wow,
I just want to
jeez,
say it like that,
so long ago, Jen.
right?
I was so young
Okay,
then. I can't believe it.
I was so young and youthful.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's right.
let's
Did you
remember
say
those
useful
glory
or
years.
youthful?
Well, maybe both. So this is the Mad Caddies. They have 8 albums out, and I picked something from actually one of their compilation albums or their best ever. And this is Drinking 411.
Drinking for a living, that's just what I do. But when I'm not with you, my heart goes to bed. Enter the bar, that's just where I'll be. Don't try and come find me, 'cause I'm already dead. With one eye tied up on the open road, I feel your presence and I can't let it go. It moves so slowly as it creeps into my mind, steals every breath I have and leaves my heart behind. I wanna know what you feel if you feel it alone. I wanna hear if you still care. The last time I remember you was the last time I wasn't scared. When the night starts fading and the morning arrives, I wanna still feel you around. Will you creep into my head again and pick me up off the ground once more? Tell me what you're fighting for. Gotta try for tomorrow. You can't see through today. Gotta try for tomorrow. You can't see through today. There's nowhere left to stay. Whoa. Sometimes I feel like I'm out here all alone, just one in a million, stuck with no place left to go. Fear steps up to me with every move that I make. Follow close behind my soul, it wants to take. I wanna know what you feel if you feel it alone. I wanna hear if you still care. The last time I remember you was the last time I wasn't scared. When the night starts fading and the morning arrives, I wanna still feel you around. Will you creep into my head again and pick me up off the ground once more? Tell me what you're fighting for. Gotta try for tomorrow. You can't see through today. Gotta try for tomorrow. You can't see through today. There's nowhere left to stay. Whoa. Drinking for a living, that's just what I do. When I'm not with you, my heart goes.
Oh, that was good, Jed. I like that one.
Not bad, eh? So Tony,
Yeah,
do I
that
get
was
a
really
point for
good.
that at all?
I'm a big ska punk guy, so Don better bring it good on this one.
Oh,
Alright,
I
so you're a
will.
little
I
bit
will.
biased here.
I love the horn section, eh? Like the brass. It's just great, eh?
Yes.
It really adds to it. I like when they do that, and because it's kind of underrated, the brass. If
They
you
don't-
use
they
it
don't do
properly,
it
it can
anymore.
really add a lot.
Modern day punk bands are usually 3 pieces, so
Yeah, it's
Well, there's
it's
another punk band I love. Maybe I'll introduce them some other time.
oh,
They're
which
kind of
one?
light. They're not super heavy. The horror pops. Horror
yeah.
pops.
Oh,
You know those guys,
I've never
Tony?
heard of it
oh yeah,
before.
for sure.
Oh,
All right,
that
I have
sounds
a
good.
song
I'm
I
looking
think that we can play another time from the horror pops.
the horror pops.
Horror pops.
Put on some Descendants, why don't you?
What's that,
Well, let me
Tony?
move on.
Oh, put on some Descendants, why don't you?
Descendants. I don't know them.
Oh no. Okay. I might have to do
No,
your
I'll have to
Okay.
class
look
next
that
week.
one up.
I wrote it
So
down. I'll look it up.
let's move on. Talk a little bit about monitoring framework. So the proponent's responsible for preparing a monitoring framework for the project, and this is developed in the course of doing the environmental assessment and the impact assessment. So this framework is typically developed for each phase and each phase of the project, and then it's tied to all the activities associated with each phase, because the activities can drive the monitoring. So it's pretty it's a pretty detailed um, thing that's put together in terms of monitoring. So there's when
Yes.
so this is put forward and then it's reviewed, right? So it goes to government for review, and they may add to that or adjust that what's been proposed, or they may give it back to the proponent and say, we need you to strengthen it in certain ways, and then resubmit. So it just depends. But that framework again it serves as that basis for the monitoring activities that as the project moves forward, right? So as it goes into construction, there's a different type of monitoring than there would be during operations. And then even in the decommissioning activities, you were talking about how the footprint of the access roads to the wind farm um, is reduced, right? And then they restore those areas, right? They reduce the
Hmm.
footprint after they don't need to bring in all that equipment and materials. And then
That's
there's
oh,
a
and I wanted to add
sure,
one more thing to that, Don, because we were talking about mitigation measures. So one of the things that we have a lot of in my area is species at risk. And one of those
yes,
species is the Mississauga rattlesnake. We have a
mm-hmm,
significant amount of those. You'd think they weren't a species at risk for how many there are where we live. And so one of the mitigation measures that we have there is a speed limit. And our speed limit throughout the wind farm, and so that's going in another part of our community. So on that road, which goes from Highway 69, and it gets you to almost to Georgian Bay. So it gets you to what's called Henvey Inlet, and that kind of leads out into Georgian Bay. The speed limit there is 10 kilometers an hour. So you
really,
might
that's
think that's
incredible.
agonizingly slow, and it kind of is. One of the other things that we do, it's not just the speed limit that says 10 kilometers an hour, but um, every once in a while, our environmental commissioner will throw fake Massasauga rattlesnakes at different places on the road. And so people who are driving
Interesting.
have to make sure they spot the Massasauga rattlesnake. So I just wanted to add that. So there's these extra
Wow,
things that
that's really interesting, Jen.
you can
Yeah,
throw in
I've
there,
never heard
right?
of that before. Yeah.
So they'll trick
Wow,
you.
that's
So you have to look.
yeah. Yeah, make sure you're paying attention. Yeah, which is a good idea.
That's
That's
right.
wow. Well, I'll just remind our listeners again that they can call or text us at 1-844-424-0500. That's 1-844-424-0500. I am now going to reach into my archives for another song. This one's a one from the past, a little goofy. And this one is called Boogie Wonderland by Earth,
Boogie
Wind, and
Wonderland.
Fire. Yeah,
Oh,
most people have heard of this one. Let's listen to
I
that.
don't know if I have. Okay, let's see.
You have.
Boogie
How about that? A little boogie wonderland, Jen.
All right. I see platforms, bell bottoms, and blue and silver eyeshadow on the women.
Yes. Oh yeah. It's a classic though, eh? A little horn section in the
I
back there. Did you notice that?
I did, and I'm surprised I actually don't have that on my bell bottoms and roller skates list.
That's from
You
the movie
well, you should add it then.
That's from the movie Skate
What
House
movie,
USA.
Tony? Oh, right on. I'm gonna have to.
But
I'm gonna have to
It's
add
from a
this song.
movie?
a ska fan, I'm gonna have to give that one to Jen. You guys are tied up 1-1.
Oh, that was
With
oh boy,
4
some
minutes
good
left in the
music
game.
today. 4 minutes left in the game. Well, I'm going to roll over some of my other selections for tomorrow's shows on another project. And okay, so let's get close to wrapping things up here. Talk a little bit now about the federal or IAC, meaning Impact Assessment Agency of Canada requirements
Hmm.
when it comes to monitoring and compliance. And so, um, in this, the proponent's responsible, as you can imagine, for developing and carrying out the follow-up and monitoring programs. Now, the agency, meaning IAC, can, if they choose to, establish a monitoring committee. And the idea of the monitoring committee is to provide some oversight, make sure the science is being followed properly, so that the monitoring results are meaningful and can be validated and actually represent like a true sort of picture of conditions. And
Hmm.
so it adds, a little bit, just makes it a little bit more official. And that's only if they consider it necessary. And then what the agency does, IAC, is they track and report on the follow-up and monitoring programs, and then they post this information. So they make it publicly available, which is all in keeping with the entire process, right? So the process is very transparent all the way through, getting public input, all the way along. And the same thing goes with the monitoring, right? That information is shared as to, whether those mitigations are working. So the monitoring information is provided and an assessment is done, and this is provided and presented to the public. The agency, so IAC, is responsible for making sure of compliance with the decision statement, which is the statement that comes down from the minister regarding the project. It may be approved, it may be rejected, it might be sent back for further work, but this allows, if it is approved, this is a way of making sure that the project is following the rules that were set out in the decision statement that approved the project. So that's basically how that works. And then if there is non-compliance, if the rules aren't being followed, if they identify that, then there's enforcement measures to try to get the project or that particular issue back into compliance. So that's basically how it works. It's just to
I
police
have
and
a
make sure. Sure, go ahead, Jen.
quick question. Do we know who will be on that committee,
No, so that
the
that would be
monitoring
formed
committee?
by, if it's required, if IAC decides to form that. We don't know, but it's typically third party, like independent people. It's a panel of independent
Okay,
experts
and
that
does
are
that
brought together.
include? I wonder if that would include people from Treaty 9 as well.
It could, it can include
Hmm.
a sort of a broad group of people for sure, Jen. Absolutely, that would be wise for them to do, actually.
Yes.
But no, that's a very good question. Very good question. Well, it looks like we're almost out of time here. That wraps up today's discussion of commitments and monitoring, and we hope this was helpful for everyone, and encourages you to join us again next week at the same time when we're going to talk about the aquatic habitat preliminary findings. Don't forget to keep in touch with our project team members via the contact information available on our website, supplyroad.ca. Miigwech, and we will talk to you again next week.
Miigwech and Bamapi.